Most countries blame drug cartels on poverty, on geography, on drug demand. Brazil has all of that, but Brazil's most powerful criminal organizations weren't born in the slums. They weren't built by drug lords. They were built inside government prisons by political prisoners during a military dictatorship with the full knowledge of the state. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is what happened. In 1964, the Brazilian military overthrew a democratically elected president with quiet support from the United States government. What followed was 21 years of military rule. Opposition was crushed. Journalists were censored. Activists, students, and intellectuals were arrested. The regime called itself a revolution. Most of the world called it a dictatorship, and it created prisons full of an unusual mix of people. Off the coast of Rio de Janeiro lies a beautiful island called Ilha Grande. Today it's a tourist destination. Pristine beaches, hiking trails, crystal water, but for decades it housed one of Brazil's most feared prisons, Comando Mendes. In the 1970s, the military began sending political prisoners there. Marxist guerrillas and intellectuals were locked up in the same cells as common criminals, murderers, thieves, bank robbers. The regime thought this would humiliate the political prisoners, break them. Instead, something completely unexpected happened. The political prisoners were educated. They had ideological frameworks and knew how to resist an authoritarian system from the inside. The common criminals had muscle, street knowledge, and nothing to lose. What emerged was a transfer of knowledge that the dictatorship never anticipated. Political prisoners taught common criminals how to organize collectively, build loyalty structures, and resist prison authorities. The criminals gave the political prisoners protection. It was a transaction, and out of that transaction, an ideology was born, crude, distorted, but functional. A prison code that said, "We protect our own, we share what we have, we fight the state together." Here's where the story gets darker. The military regime needed money off the books, untraceable. Intelligence agencies began making deals with criminal networks inside the prisons, protection in exchange for information. Prison guards were bribed. Directors looked the other way. Drug trafficking routes were partially tolerated by people connected to state security. Nobody signed anything. Nobody left a paper trail. But the pattern is documented by researchers and Brazil's own Truth Commission. By the late 1970s, the network of organized prisoners in Comando Mendes had a name, Falange Vermelha, the Red Phalanx. It would later become the Comando Vermelho, the Red Command, today one of the most powerful criminal organizations in Latin America. A decade later, in São Paulo, inside the Carandiru prison, the PCC emerged in 1993, fighting the oppression of the penal system. Brazil today has the third largest prison population in the world, more than 830,000 people behind bars. The drug war in Brazil was never really a war on drugs. It was a war on poor people, fought by a state that needed them controllable. The organizations the state helped create became the justification for more police and more control. The cycle feeds itself. The next time someone tells you Brazil's violence problem is a cultural thing, remember Ilha Grande. Remember what was put there. Thanks for watching.